Welcome to Securing America with me, Frank Gaffney, the program that's a kind of owner's manual for protecting the country we love. To tee up our first guest and the very important conversation we're going to have with him, I want to give you a short mission brief. Russia's Vladimir Lenin may not have said, quote, "The capitalists will sell us the rope with which we hang them," unquote, but it's been a guiding principle for communists worldwide. Those in China have actually gotten capitalists in this country and elsewhere to pay for the purchase of the Chinese-made rope as well. Worse yet, if you participate in pension plans or invest in mutual, index, or exchange-traded funds, chances are good that those same Wall Street capitalists are using your money to enable the Chinese Communist Party's unrestricted warfare against us. This insanity was the subject of an urgent webinar sponsored this week by our Committee on the Present Danger China, entitled, "Are You Investing in America's Destruction?" I was proud to be the moderator of the program and commend it to you very highly. As it happens, within hours of that webinar, word broke that Didi, China's counterpart to Uber, demonstrated afresh the dangers of investing in companies controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. You may recall that following Didi's initial public offering on Wall Street last summer, a CCP investigation sent the stock plunging, inflicting losses of $22 billion in market value for a time. Now, the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, is compelling Didi to delist from the New York Stock Exchange over concerns that U.S. capital markets might finally start requiring proper audits of Chinese companies. Didi, however, will likely relist in Hong Kong, a gambit that would enable continuing American investment under circumstances that protect neither our investors nor our broader national interests. Yesterday, in the course of our webinar, earlier this week, I should say, our program examined these and other perils associated with transferring U.S. wealth in pension, index, and mutual funds to the Chinese communists. I hope you will take an opportunity to look at the video and then join us in urging President Biden to end this practice by signing an open letter you can find at madashellcampaign.org. To talk about all of this, I'm very pleased to have with us the chairman of the Committee on the Present Danger China, a great friend of mine and valued colleague who for many years was the president of the highly esteemed Claremont Institute and is now the president of the American Strategy Group. He is the author most recently of Communist China's War Inside America. Brian Kennedy, it's good to have you with us here at Securing America. Glad to have you, sir.
Thank you, Frank. It's great to be with you, as always. Thank you for all you do. Your introduction there could not have been more timely, just given everything that's going on in the world today.
Well, neither could the webinar, I think. And talk a little bit about the purpose behind the webinar, Brian. How important is it to our understanding of the kind of unrestricted warfare the Chinese Communist Party is waging against us that we recognize the financial dimension of it?
Well, let me give you this analogy. Back during the Cold War, Americans were not invested in the Soviet Union. They had nuclear weapons aimed at us, and Ronald Reagan comes in, expresses the fact that the Soviet Union was the evil empire. It was an existential threat to the United States. And the last thing people would have done back then was to put their hard-earned dollars into Soviet corporations, if you could even find one. Today, we have Americans, 100 million American families are invested in the stock market. They put their money in index funds, in mutual funds, and within those funds, you have a bunch of companies that are owned by the Chinese Communist Party, run by the Chinese Communist Party, and do everything from build military equipment that can be used to destroy the United States to produce all sorts of investigative technologies that can spy on Americans to a whole host of things. It really doesn't matter.
Including oppression of their own people. The technologies behind that. Yeah.
Right, oppression of their own people, but presumably in the future, oppression of us.
Yes.
Americans are investing in these type of corporations, and most people don't know they're even doing it. And on Wall Street, all your investment managers, they're just looking for fees to be gotten from all these transactions. They're happy to take your money, invest it in these index funds, make their fees, and you are sitting there in middle America hoping that the stock goes up. Well, guess what? When the stock goes up, that may be good in the short run, but that money is going to the Chinese Communist Party ultimately. You are lining the pockets of the Chinese Communist Party when you invest in these index funds and mutual funds. Most Americans don't know they're doing this. No agency of the U.S. government is adequately regulating it. Even during the Trump administration, they did not get a handle on it. They saw that it was a problem, but they didn't get it done. Here in the Biden administration, they're doing everything in their power to signal that they're standing tough against China, but doing precious little to make sure that your investment dollars, you the average American, that your investment dollars, your pension fund money is not going to the Chinese Communist Party. Because any corporation that you're investing in is ultimately controlled by the Chinese Communist Party if it's in China.
Brian, hold the thought. We're going to come back and discuss this and other recommendations of this webinar in a moment. But one of the things I just want to emphasize, Dr. Peter Navarro was one of the featured speakers in this program and talked about how Steve Mnuchin, the then Treasury Secretary under Donald Trump, actively sabotaged efforts to try to get our hands around this problem on that administration's watch. It's even more urgent that we do so now. And we're going to be talking with Brian Kennedy about both the need and how you can help right after this.